Hello everyone. The untimely death of actor Shefali Jariwala at just 42 years has raised several troubling questions. How could someone so vibrant and seemingly healthy succumb so suddenly? What role did the anti-aging and skin glow medications found in her room play in her demise? Was there an underlying health condition aggravated by the pressures of maintaining a youthful appearance in the entertainment industry? As we mourn her loss, we must also scrutinize the societal and professional pressures that drive individuals to potentially dangerous lengths for beauty and longevity. What can be done to prevent such tragedies in the future is the question that I ask on the show tonight. Joining me here in the studio are Dr. Kriti, who is a dermatologist. Welcome to this broadcast. Ishi Khosla is a renowned nutritionist. We have Professor Sunila Garg, public health expert. We have Dr. Dipali Bhardwaj, senior dermatologist, also joining us. We also have Manvi Taneja, model and actor on this broadcast, and Tara Deshpande, actor and writer. Ishi Khosla, let's begin with nutrition. Does nutrition get impacted when you take anti-aging medicines? Because it is being said that for skin glowing treatment and other treatment that she was undergoing, she used to take those medicines. Does body nutrition get impacted because of that?
You know, first of all, I just say it's very tragic to lose a young life like this and in these circumstances. The thing is that first you need to know what was the anti-aging treatment. Was it something new that she took? Because according to the reports that one is seeing, she has been taking them for 8-9 years. And so something as like a toxic reaction to something is unlikely because she was used to taking it. However, what seems more plausible is the fact that, I mean, I'm not a detective and I'm not trying to do that, but essentially she was fasting and she may be having some kind of an electrolyte imbalance which was got exacerbated with the treatment or the injection that she took, and maybe the fact that she was also on anti-epilepsy medicines, which could have a reaction. And so whether it was fasting and a combination of the medicine, well, we really don't know exactly what was the content, but if it's the usual glutathione or vitamin C, they're usually pretty harmless and they're supportive to health and detoxification. But how they interacted with the fasting state or her existing epilepsy medicine, or was there a lack of epilepsy medicine? I mean, she didn't take her dose, we don't know.
Yes, so but that particular thought of glutathione and other vitamin C treatment that girls usually undergo after a certain age, I mean, it's become very commonplace, Dr. Kriti. Does it actually impact health conditions when you are fasting?
Definitely it can. We cannot say for certain what has happened and what did not happen in this case, but glutathione in itself, it's very important to know the right dosage in which it is given and the frequency at which it is administered. So glutathione again is a speculation. There are also anti-aging treatments with nicotinamide, which is commonly known as and marketed as NAD plus drips. Glow drips, health drips, anti-aging drips, these are the ways it is marketed. These are known to cause electrolyte imbalance. As ma'am rightly said, in a fasting state that electrolyte imbalance could be exaggerated. These, when not given in the right dosage.
But can they actually be fatal?
So these medications can also lead to hypotension, which is a fall in blood pressure, or cause cardiac arrhythmias. And these cardiac arrhythmias, when there is an underlying arrhythmia, maybe it is not realized in day-to-day activities, but with this it may be exacerbated. Also, if she was or any other individual is on any other medications like hormonal medications, medications for hypertension, again this combination can prove to be fatal. Not very commonly, but rarely such cases may happen. So it is very important for a person to be aware as to what medications they are taking, and
so there are a number of drips which have come in the market.
Right, and a lot of people, because of the prevalence of social media, young generation, they just go to these wellness clinics and say, I want this treatment and I want so and so treatment, without knowing the repercussions. A lot of these places don't even have qualified dermatologists who are trained to administer such therapies. So it is very important to take a proper patient history to know what medications they are on, what lifestyle habits they are following.
So this mushrooming of wellness centers or beauty centers, Dr. Dipali, you also run one such beauty center. My question is, are they following the health protocols or the beauty protocols which are set? You know, in the sense that, are there doctors, cardiologists there when such drugs are administered?
Sure, Maria. It's a it's a very sad death, of course, we all know. But the fact is that there is no proper guidelines being followed at a national level. Most of these drips are being administered by nurse, even of course at my center in New Delhi. And when I travel to Mumbai or some place like that, I do it myself. But if the nurse is administering, it has to be in the right dosage. Taking these drips on empty stomach is what the the American school is suggesting, because the absorption is more. So one can be fasting for about 6 hours, but it has to be in that case taken in the morning. So we really don't know which drip was administered. NAD drip can yet be uncomfortable. Glutathione can actually be taken empty stomach. But the protocol of the dosage has to be according to your height and weight. Your doctor should be involved in it. They are very, very safe, provided it's not a counterfeit product. It's not a duplicate product, provided the cold chain of the product is being maintained very nicely. How we have proper standards here. We do not buy duplicate. We have fixed dealers and distributors. But I think this is a wake-up call, and the Indian government must take stern action now and ensure that these duplicate products are removed from the market. Because interestingly, Maria, I get regularly young girls who have purchased these products without knowing the distributor from websites like Alibaba and India Mart, etc. And they have purchased it at very less cost, and they forced centers like us to inject. Being ethical, we always say no to them, and even some of them are ready to pay any bomb of money, but that's never lured us. But we don't know about centers where there are no doctors, where are those beauty clinics or wellness clinics which are not run by doctors or business people is the one behind it. We don't know if they are injecting such products, which could actually be very harmful.
Absolutely. Professor Sunila Garg, the larger question is also that why are these medicines so easily available? Because reports are suggesting that at Shefali's home, there were 2 boxes full of medicines. And whether she was taking these medicines under a doctor's supervision or she was doing it on her own, we really do not know. But the larger question is that if these medicines are available on the counter, then it certainly means that just about anybody who has some kind of underconfidence because of their beauty or lack of it, then they may just go for it.
It's a very, very important question, let me tell you. And we are, as a public health expert and as chair to Program Advisory Committee at NHFW, from the policy perspective, there are only, medicines which have to be available over the counter, like antipyretics and all that, or, the medicines for use of common drugs and all that. But when we talk of these beauty products and all, definitely, they have to be available with the prescription and under doctor's guidance. We were just listening to that madam, was talking about that when she goes, she administers herself, but otherwise the nurse administers. Now, where is the list of, is emergency tray available? What if suddenly the anaphylaxis happens after? Anaphylaxis can happen to anybody because we are not regularly testing for sensitivity. That part is very, very important. But ultimately, the important part is who is counseling our larger population. Behind one death, we will see, I think it's an iceberg phenomena. We are seeing only the tip. Behind that, there will be hundreds of girls, who would be suffering from lot of morbidities. That means they may not, die, but they will have lot of side effects. But that is where we need to focus on this platform, that awareness creation is very, very important. Indiscriminate use of hormonal treatments, indiscriminate use of anti-diabetic drugs like, when we talk of metformin and all that. So we need to be very careful exactly, or this is an era where young girls are also suffering from a lot of comorbidities also. When we talk of diabetes, hypertension, she may be on beta blockers also. So that's where we need to be cautious that one should not take the drug without proper prescription. The second part is wherever there are injectables being given, there has to be emergency tray which has got to be available for immediate revival. And social media pressures have got to be, unless we create the awareness, people are just, why not everybody will like to look like Shefali or, somebody else.
Absolutely.
That whole concept has to be brought in right from schools. We should not hesitate.
Absolutely. One has to age. Aging is as natural a phenomena as sun rising and sun setting, Manvi. Is it difficult to accept for actors that
absolutely.
they will age? Of course, we do know that that these industries have a skewed idea of women and aging. They're not ready to accept women in their 40s or 50s, but then that's the ultimate truth of life.
So if you talk about 40s and 50s, I'll say that it starts from 20s only, because these days celebrities have so much of pressure to look good. If they don't fall under that parameters, they will not get work. And we have seen in past history also that if the actor has gained a little bit of weight, she was not offered films. If the actor is not looking good, she is not successful in that industry. So they have certain parameters which you need to fall into. One is that yes, you need to look slim and fit, and gym trainers these days, they suggest you to take some such supplements or steroids or weight loss injections. But we have seen in past also, we lost Siddharth because of excess dose of gym supplements. And these days, as an actors, they try to take Botox, fillers. Dermatologists suggest you, if you want to look good, if you want to look fair, if you want your skin to glow every time, you need to go to certain procedures. But I think that they have some side effect. You look good that time, but yes, after 2 years, your Botox start to reducing. You need to go for that session again. But what the concern here is that it is not only limited to the film industry, it is not only limited to the celebrities. These days it's a rat race for everyone. For the common people who want to who are a little bit of do socializing, they also fall into this. And I am seeing that beauticians, they've been selling weight loss medicines, they have been selling weight loss capsules, and people they buy it. These days, social media platform, the influencers, Instagram influencers, they have become a biggest scam in India. Whatever they eat, people start to follow that. Whatever they wear, okay, if you wear certain dresses, people try to wear that is not harmful. But yes, weight loss pills, injections, Botox, fillers. If a person takes it, the social media influencer takes it, people start to follow.
They start following it. Yes, but Tara, when with Shefali's demise, there are multiple questions that society in general is facing. I think it is time to raise those questions of the idea of beauty. And why are we not ready to accept a woman in her 50s? She is equally beautiful then, perhaps more, wiser. Why is it that everything is so skewed?
Well, for starters, you don't see wisdom on a screen. But you do see age, and you do see wrinkles, and you do see lines, and I think that's what people have a problem with. That the attention span is so low that you don't really give a person enough time unless they grab your attention immediately. And before I answer your question, let me say I'm very sorry about Shefali's death, and my condolences to her family. I cannot imagine how painful this must be. We've been talking a lot about anti-aging here, but I also wanted to add that, since COVID took place, there have been a lot of conversations about how the vaccines may have affected coronary and heart health. Right now, we should be a bit circumspect because we don't have the autopsy reports. We don't know exactly what has happened. It is something that we're finding. It's a phenomenon that more and more young people are actually having heart attacks or having heart trouble since the pandemic. So this could possibly, be another way of considering it. But yes, there is pressure to look young. Everybody wants to look young. Everybody wants to be on Instagram with thousands and millions of followers on Facebook. And it is very difficult, harder for those who are in the profession. But I think the government needs to do something stringent about making sure that quacks are not in the business,
Yes.
and that people should remember that cheaper is not always better.
So, this point of some kind of regulation which has to come from the government side, Ishi, what can be done?
So essentially, I would just like to take from what the previous speaker just said, and very rightly, that we are noticing bodies are not the same in youngsters. Many young, fit youngsters have lost their life.
There is a sudden rise in those, people in their gym while working out, they are falling down, and it's a cardiac arrest.
Yes. So, and certainly post-pandemic, there are two things. One is the virus itself and the other is the vaccine. And both of these, in my own patients, I'm finding inflammation going up way beyond we ever saw before that. Even on patients who are on my diet or following a good diet, inflammatory markers are rising post any infection. Much more difficult to treat patients today as opposed to pre-pandemic. It's a very clear difference. So bodies are not the same, clearly, and what has changed is the microbiome leading to inflammation. One of the things in youngsters I find is these protein powders, and this has become a very important part of a belief system that we are all deficient in proteins. Everyone, whether it's an adult, a medical professional or a lay person, is now doing a maths on proteins and finding themselves falling short and opting for protein powders. That trend is, according to me, one of the most dangerous ones, which is hitting the youngsters. And they're taking all kinds of proteins, whether they are taking soya protein or whey protein or plant protein, it doesn't matter. These are inflammatory. And with that burden of the COVID, like I said, the pandemic, this. And one more aspect I want to put the spotlight on is magnesium deficiency. Again, a highly underdiagnosed and misunderstood aspect of our health and well-being, because we don't have good tests to document this deficiency. Magnesium is squarely responsible for the heartbeat, the rhythmic activity of our heart, and we lose magnesium with sweat and body fluids. So you'll see a lot of these fit guys on treadmills dropping dead, or on the middle of the sports arena.
That's because of magnesium deficiency.
Can be very easily reported. There are reports.
So what are these early signs?
Good question. Magnesium deficiency can manifest in many diverse ways. Some of them include headaches and a history of migraines. It could be just constipation. It could be calf muscle pain and water retention. It could be just in women, PCOD and endometriosis, those kind of symptoms. Generally, you can have cramps. Very often you have cramps. So anything which has a rhythmic aspect to our contraction in our bodies, whether it's breathing, breathlessness, or even tachycardia for that matter, of feeling, palpitation as we call it. So any of these are signs and symptoms, and that is a supplement which the youngsters and all of us.
That's a very important point that you're making, Ishi, because we talk about calcium deficiency among women,
yes,
but we have not addressed that very important point of magnesium deficiency.
And anxiety, which
and
these youngsters,
the stress
and insomnia, not being able to sleep is a sign of magnesium deficiency. In just anxiety, people who are just, anxious for no rhyme or reason, and the youngsters, it's plaguing them, and they're taking anti-anxiety pills to combat that.
Okay.
I just like to add on to what ma'am said. Apart from that, we also notice that there is a tendency to take vitamins over the counter. A lot of people are taking B12, biotin, even amino acids. There are two categories of amino acids: essential and non-essential. The non-essentials one, your body makes them on their own. The gut microbiome, things like glycine, glutamine, it doesn't need to be supplemented, but because of social media and the prevalence at which these things are advertised, people are just consuming them without any knowledge. It's almost like saying they're popping pills for fun.
Yes.
But
I think that's where I will like to comment. Basically, it's the empowerment with correct knowledge that is important for both boys and girls. See, when you raise the issue of protein powders, what is the quality check? That is important. And what is the ingredient? When we talk of within the protein powders, are we looking at it carefully? That part is very important. People go just by what the gym instructor is telling. that you take these protein powders, these supplements. So regulation of these is very important. You asked that what government is going to do. Government is already there, in terms of regulation, but we are 146 crores, remember, and 36 states and union territories with so many, we are almost 20% adolescent only, when 1/5 of our population. So we need to, kind of empower people and everybody through schools, through, different channels, whether we are healthcare providers, beauty people, and everybody has to come out with the message that basically, it's the lifestyle, it's the correct diet that is important, it's the correct exercise. The holistic approach is very, very important.
That holistic approach that is needed, Manvi, is perhaps missing because invariably there is stress which is being added to our daily life, and then there are these standards of beauty that girls feel that they have to live up to.
Yeah, I think everything should be balanced. For stress, I think we have doctors in the panel, they would suggest that 8 hours sleep is must. People, they do overtime just to just to add on a little bit of money in their pocket. They do extra hours, they work extra hours, and if everything you need to balance. If you are going to a gym, you need to do gym only for hour or an hour and a half. But here, what I see among youngsters, they do gym for 2 hours, more than 2 hours. They try to put more. Sometimes they go in the morning also, and sometimes they go in the evening also. So 2 times a gym, I don't think it's the right way. And if you talk about as in whatever you eat, your nutritious dietitians these days, they are suggesting you to do intermediate fasting. Yes, it's good, but if you're doing gym along with intermediate fasting, I don't think it's good. Initially, they suggest you to fast for 12 hours, and then later on they start increasing your time, 14 hours, 16 hours, 18 hours, and later stage they put you on water fasting also. Water fasting for 7 days, 14 days, 21 days. Just imagine, you are not eating for 21 days, and along with that you are also doing gym for 2 hours. Where your body will go? And a few months back we lost a girl. She was on water fasting since I think for a month, and we lost her.
It's scary. It's scary. I think
scary.
these intermittent fasting and only water diet, only fruit diet are also, because these are fads now.
These are fads, and these are to be done under supervision.
Supervision, yes.
They cannot just be, everyone just can't pick it up and do it. It's just not okay.
But there is
number
a science
one.
behind
and there
it.
is a science, and there's a place for it. And before we resort to anything, it's important to get it, from a qualified person, and whether it's exercise or your protein powders. And why are we looking at protein powders per se? Why aren't we just looking at first addressing the diet? Why can't we just increase the protein in the diet by, they have 20 grams of protein in a portion of a scoop of protein powder. Just have 3 eggs more than
and increase your natural protein rather than having protein powders.
We just kind of succumb to the pressures.
I have just enough time for Dr. Dipali and Tara. Dr. Dipali, go ahead, make your comments, and then the last word to Tara Deshpande.
Well, I think anti-aging is something like it needs a multi-pronged approach, and you have to have a good lifestyle, you have to think well, you have to eat well, you have to follow an hobby, and have a good skin routine. You cannot just do one thing. And whoever is your dermatologist, you must discuss everything in detail, so you can tell him or her what supplements you're on, what you would like to, because the Instagram generation is actually doing a lot from Instagram, and sometimes they hide. So that's not the right approach. And I would definitely, Maria, still say that the government must take actions on these counterfeit products so that, we as a nation grow in a better direction.
We are more informed is the big point that is being made here. Tara?
Right now the system has become particularly predatory. There is a trend right now on Instagram where people are running these health scare ads,
yes,
where they scare you that, you could have a heart attack, or you could have poor joints, or this could happen to you, or that could happen to you. But here, take these vitamin supplements, or take this tonic, or take this elixir of youth, and it will really change everything for you. And people get so worked up because, stress and anxiety can also make you a little bit paranoid about your own health, and you start thinking that there's everything wrong with you, and you go out and buy these ridiculous products. The other thing that I personally take a lot of issue to is the term anti-aging. See, we're going to age whether we like it or not. But if the focus, rather than how many wrinkles does a woman have, or how young does her skin look, instead of the focus being that, why can't the focus be having a better joint health, having better muscle health, your heart functioning better, your brain functioning better? In the end, those things give you a better old age than like how your face looks.
Absolutely. I would request all the guests who joined us on this broadcast, so thank you so much for joining us. There are a lot of questions that have been raised, and we have tried to find answers to that, but certainly the question really is that there is a young life which has been lost, and she could have been anyone. I mean, if you look at it, Shefali, of course, was an actor. It can be anyone, and that is the scary part, that vibrant people, healthy people who appear to be healthy are succumbing to these pressures of society, of staying young, which is almost impossible. Thanks so much for watching.